Claire Alford. I am chair of the Tech UK Interoperability Working Group, and I am here with my colleagues on the working group who will introduce themselves as we come to them. I'm just going to start off by handing over to Cinzia, who is from Tech UK and going to tell us a little bit about Tech UK and the working group.
Hi, I'm Cinzia Miatto. I'm the Program Manager for Justice and Emergency Services here at Tech UK. For those who don't know, Tech UK is the UK Tech Trade Association. What we are doing, we are supporting the tech industry and help the tech sector grow. Across the work of our Justice and Emergency Services program, we have a focus on interoperability in policing. We have a dedicated working group for that, composed by Tech UK members, but also public sector and law enforcement representatives. The working group has been running for a while now, but I will hand over to the chair and vice chair to tell you more about it.
Thanks, Cinzia. So I thought I could spend a minute or so just explaining why we have an interoperability working group. So 5 years ago, I wrote to Tech UK to really try and gain some support for setting up the working group. Because there is such an issue in policing where systems don't talk to each other and police officers don't have access to the data that they need when they need it. So we set up the working group around 5 years ago with the support of Tech UK, and I've been chair of the working group for the last year. I think we've made a huge amount of progress over that time, and more recently some great collaboration with policing. But I'd like to come firstly to Steve, to ask Steve a little bit about the background to kind of what the challenges are with interoperability within policing.
So I'm Steve Norris, I'm the Market Director for Police and Fire in Salesforce. What we see as the biggest challenges for interoperability is the amount of processing time that it takes for police operatives, be it in a contact centre or be it on the front line, to actually process elements of data and upload that information into the police systems. There are multiple systems that have to have information rekeyed into it a number of times, which we feel can actually be eradicated. And the best example of this is when in a contact centre someone has an incoming call, they manage the call, which can be on average 6 minutes. It takes 10 minutes for the operative to actually then update the different systems to confirm what they've talked to the end user about. And that's 10 minutes of different systems with different passwords. And we feel as though that's something that can be eradicated. And the benefit is that the operatives can then answer more calls. The public are actually provided a better service by the time taken being reduced, and the flexibility that the interoperability of the systems will offer the public.
Yeah, I suspect the audience will really, a lot of that will resonate with the audience. So I think I'd like to come to Robert now, but what I'd like to talk to Robert about is kind of what your view is on the progress of the group, because Steve's quite eloquently set out all the challenges for policing, but of course we know this isn't an easy one to solve.
No.
So perhaps you can give the audience a sense of what we've achieved as a group over the past few years.
Okay, thank you, Claire. Robert Leach. I run my own consultancy, R Leach Consulting. I've been working in the policing market for about 20 years now, unfortunately. Progress. I think to start with, we have always wanted to get closer to our customer base through the messaging that Steve has just mentioned about the inefficiency that's within every aspect of policing systems technology. It's taken a lot longer than I thought it should. And I'm sure that Claire, when she first signalled this, would agree. But we have made very good progress. I was the chair of the LEP for the 2 years prior to Claire arriving, and we could sense that there was a willingness from our stakeholders to engage and be engaging and contribute, rather than sitting on the sidelines and, I guess, accepting our emails, asking them to present to us, but not going any further. And that was evidenced by the fact that I was invited to sit on the National Standards Assurance Board by PDS, which I'm still doing, and now Brendan Johnson, who is the chair of that board, sits on our committee. Since Claire's arrival, we have focused absolutely arrow-like on this collaboration work, and we have benefited from the interests of senior people now, more senior, I should say, people in PDS, to the extent that Alex Bowen is now actively engaging with us. I think this will be his third meeting where he's taken part, and he is asking us to help him with the interoperability challenge, the efficiency challenge, the thing that will make policing more productive at a time when the volume of their activity, the volume of calls they have to deal with, the incidents they have to investigate, is just going up and up.
Thanks, Robert. I think from my side, my reflections certainly over the past year since I've been chair are that we have got really good now collaboration with, as Robert says, with senior people in policing, but also we've managed to make some really practical steps forward. So we're working with PDS on an interoperability handbook, and we are working with the Home Office to support the work on the police information strategy. And more recently, we've actually seen through the police industry charter that interoperability appears as the number one point on the charter. So from our point of view, that is really, really good news, because that recognition of the importance of interoperability and access to data is really being recognised. And I think in a world where we're now all talking about how we can leverage AI and how we can join up the data for police officers, interoperability is so foundational to achieve so many of those things. So I guess in closing, it would be good just to hear from each of you in turn. Robert, what would be your kind of one ask of policing on behalf of the group? What's the one thing that you think policing could do to help improve interoperability?
I think that policing needs to procure its systems in a manner that emphasises the necessity for interoperable data. So you want a system, you identify what it is, you set a business case up to procure it, you then specify it, but in the specifications and to the point about in the charter, the specifications should have at their core interoperability techniques. And any supplier that wants to bid back into that tender process who doesn't conform to or accept the fact that interoperability has to be at the core of their solution, the ability to integrate with other systems, data, etc., they should be marked down in the bid, if not refused the opportunity to bid. It should be that sort of level of process, I think.
Thanks, Robert. And Steve, how about you?
I think I have two, if I don't mind. I think you're right. I think the interoperability has to have the same type of grading as social value in these tenders to actually lift the visibility of that. But I would also like to see greater representation from the NPTC committee, so the chief execs or the CIOs of policing that are challenged with these interoperability issues every day, to actually put our case forward, put our ideas forward to that community, so that they can act as a sounding board and go ahead and actually adopt some of these solutions as well. AI is a big buzzword globally at the moment, and policing is no different. And we get asked all the time, can we have some AI? But the foundational work to actually implement AI needs to have an interoperability baseline for data. You cannot run AI over different data sets. So it's a foundational requirement, and I think we need to lift the awareness of this challenge to the likes of the NPTC and wider, to actually start to improve the systems that they have.
Can I just add to that? I think that what we need to look for is, Claire mentioned it, the handbook that we're working on with PDS around interoperability. I think that the National Police Tech Council should ratify that handbook and become part of the process. A representative from the NPTC should join the Interoperability Working Group. I think that's the sort of thing that we're looking for.
Thank you very much. Yeah, totally agree with all those points. And I think my overarching ambition with the group is just to improve the way that industry and policing work together on tackling the challenge. So we have an amazing group. We have about 25 of us Tech UK members, lots of organisations of different sizes, but we've got some great minds, and we actually have some people who are pretty passionate about this subject, putting their time into creating content, into creating handbooks. And so I think we have really something to offer, and what we're really looking for is real strong vision and leadership for policing as well, and a way of collaborating together. So that would be the way I would put the ambition for the group. Cinzia, do you have any final?
No, I think you gave just the perfect message from a Tech UK perspective. It's the same. You've heard all the working groups, so we're hoping if you have any question or if you want to just get in touch with the group, please let us know.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.